Listen to Can We Talk Y'all podcast where you can have conversation
without moderation.
A 90s feel
that hasn't lost its appeal.
With two girls and a guy
will catch your eye,
but not like that. So get your mind out of the gutter
and let's unclutter what happened this week.
Al, start this damn show.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Can We Talk Y'all? Today's episode, I just want to say, are you ready for some football? It is another football season and we have waited patiently all year long, especially after the playoff season at the beginning of the year. We've been waiting for football just like every other year. And this time it is week 3 of the college football season. It's week 3. We were excited because the weather has calmed down. It feels like fall outside in the state of Georgia. But to be a University of Georgia Bulldog fan in week 3 has its disappointments this week. We got off to a great start in week 1 with Clemson. We took care of business. We had Tennessee Tech on week 2. We took care of business. Week 3, I just have to say how disappointed I am. I'm happy it's football season, you guys, but this week 3 was a challenge for me. In the studio today, I got Abrew, my producer. Abrew, you want to shout out?
Hey, I'm here.
In addition, we welcome G to the studio today. So, G, we're glad to have you. I know you witnessed this week 3, this University of Georgia versus University of Kentucky game, too. So, we're glad to have you as well. So, again, y'all, I'm just struggling. I'm struggling. I don't know what the hell happened in week 3. But first quarter, Kentucky got on the board first. They kicked a field goal. They had 3 points. It was 3-0. Second quarter, again, Kentucky got on the board again. It was 6-0. And then finally we got on the board and it was 6-3 and then halftime. And April, why don't you just explain a little bit about what we were feeling? Because going into halftime, we were trying to be optimistic. We knew that Coach Smart would go in there and handle business with the team. Talk a little bit about what you felt at this point in the game.
This is how I felt at the point of the game.
Yes, I think all the fans must have felt that way. Go ahead.
I thought we was in trouble. Well, I knew we was going to win this game. Let me say that.
Okay.
But I thought we was going to come out of halftime at least put up 31. I'm talking about it's going to be 31-9 after halftime. I'm thinking we're going to put 28 points up after halftime.
Yeah.
And then it comes to the fourth quarter. We didn't score our first touchdown to the fourth quarter. And then it was 13-12. And then all these fumbles and all these penalties. I just wanted to get this damn game over with.
I think I felt the same thing. It's like, when we went up 13-12, I was just like, okay, at least we can win. It was an ugly win, but I just want to get all the seconds off the scoreboard.
Let it just run off the clock. But I had to look back over the game. When I look back over the game, Brock Vandegrift, who was a graduate of UGA, he had been in the UGA system for the last 4 years. So he knew Kirby's defense inside and out.
Yeah.
And now he's the starting quarterback for UK when he was the backup quarterback for UGA. And then on the other side of the ball, defense, Jumas Johnson, who was a starting linebacker the last 2 years after N'Kobe Dean, he knew all the play calls. And so that's why the defense and offense looked so good. They knew Georgia tendencies.
I can
you know
understand that.
And so I was just like, and it showed, you know what I mean? Because Kentucky knew exactly where to be, what we was going to do. And they were stopping us and stuffing us at every angle.
Don't you feel like, and this is, I agree with what you're saying. Maybe there was a little intel, a little perspective that the two Kentucky players were able to provide to the coaches as they prepared to play Georgia. However, what was disappointing to me is I didn't see an adjustment to that. Surely Coach Smart and all the rest of the coaching staff, Mike Bobo, they were privy to the information that they had two ex-UGA players on the Kentucky squad. And I'm pretty sure that they knew that information will be shared. But my problem was in the first half, continuing to call the same play, running straight up the middle and getting stopped every time. It's like the definition of insanity. If you're not getting yards, change something. You have a lot more plays in the playbook. So my beef in the moment is with the coaching. And so I have to say Mike Bobo and ultimately Coach Smart, because you're the head coach. So if, I'm equating it to me working my job, right? If I got a manager that just ain't getting it done, at a certain point, it's going to be on me to step in and make a call. So don't you, am I crazy? I just felt like there was a lot of the same play being called and to give us the same result each time.
There were, but, for the last 3 years, the first game on the road in the SEC always been a tough journey for Georgia. We win it, but we barely win those games. And then that turned the season around to say, hey, now we get confidence or whatever we get. I don't know what it is. But after that first SEC road game, we come back and dominate. So my perspective after this game here is Alabama in trouble.
Okay.
The reason, I don't know if Kirby had those boys running the bleachers. I don't know if he used that as motivation that y'all ain't good as you think you are. You don't deserve to be number one. Usually after we had that one struggle game a year, because it's usually one. Last year was, I think 2 years ago was Kentucky, and 3 years ago was Mizzou, where we barely beat Mizzou in Mizzou. So we always have those games. So I think, the rest of the season gonna be on par going forward. My opinion.
And I would hope so. I would hope that this game, the takeaways is, hey, we got to play each game. And if I remember correctly, I believe, Coach Smart has said in the past, we got to take care of business this week. Let's don't look forward to the following week or what happens at the SEC championship or what happens in the college football playoffs. We need to take care of business today. And it just seemed as if we were asleep. We were, the offense just really never came alive. I felt the defense did a good job. They made mistakes throughout the game, yes, but I feel like the defense held Kentucky to no touchdowns. All of their points on the board went to field goals. So in that regard, I felt like defense was okay. But I just didn't see the rhythm. And, Carson Beck, he has stated, what his goals for the season are. And one of his things he wanted to achieve is to be, nominated for the Heisman. I'm not saying that this game will knock him completely out of that, but the burden is certainly on him to turn it around, because I just didn't expect, some of his passes off point, and that's some things we bragged about him in week 1 and week 2 is his accuracy. And then it was just like, the offense was a hot mess, in my opinion.
They were, but it's like, it's like you get in a fight with somebody, and then they have sparred with you their whole life, and now we y'all get in the fight, even though you're the prize winner to fight. They know your moves because they've been battling with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they know when you drop your shoulder, you finna throw a right hook, and they hit you with a counter before, and you're like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? So eventually you got to adjust, but even your adjustments, they've been around you so long, they know your adjustments.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened yesterday. Now, I think that Carson Beck will be better. I think the Georgia team will be better, but they just ran into two people, an offensive person and a defensive person. That's why we looked like we couldn't get together on no fronts. And if you look at that game, you know a lot of secrets were shared, and rightfully so. They don't play for UGA, they play for UK. But UK had just got their ass handed to them by South Carolina the week before, 31 to 7. And so all of a sudden, they look horrible. Now this week against Georgia, the number one team
all put together
in the country, they looked like they was a juggernaut.
Yeah.
So you knew that other people knew them.
Yeah, and that's fine if that played a factor. But then again, you know, the coaching staff did know that, you know, the two players were over there to begin with. And like I said, I really just didn't see in the first half. I could not say that I saw adjustments being made. I didn't. I would have liked to. I would have, okay, let's try something, you know, different, you know, instead of doing the same thing over and over again and being unsuccessful with it. But, you know, Carson Beck, he got going and he started throwing down the field. But it was in the second half. I don't know, where was he the whole first quarter? Where was he? It was all running, and it was all not working. And if it was a pass, it was a pass sideline to sideline, not down the field for yardage to get a first down. I'm sorry, I'm just on my soapbox. I'm a little bit still disappointed with the game on yesterday. But yeah, just, you know, we can do better.
We can, but like I say, it's like you going to work in the morning. You're going to go either one or two ways. And I'm always, if somebody really want to stalk you, they going to be like, yeah, she going to be coming through here probably about, yep, there she goes. You kind of see what I'm saying? So they knew Georgia. So I think that going forward, it'll be a different Georgia. And we shouldn't have to see them no more because Kentucky lost 2 games now. More likely they won't make the playoff. But, yeah, it was an ugly game in 13-12, and I just wanted to get it over with. Get out of there, take a win, keep the 42 game winning streak going to 43. I can't remember where we at right now. Keep it going and learn to fight and play another week, man. Get ready to see Bama, and then get ready to see somebody else, and hopefully, because everybody anointed Texas and the people that anointed Ohio State, and they anointed everybody else the number one team, and rightfully so. We should drop next week. We shouldn't be the number one team because Kentucky is not ranked and we barely beat them. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Yeah, Lee, they ready to drop us out the ranking because, you know what I mean, we barely won beat the Kentucky team. So we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of controversy on that. You know, yeah, they do seem to want Texas to emerge as the SEC dominating force. And I remember hearing a commentator say that you didn't dominate where you left. So, you know, it's interesting, but it's neither here nor there. You know, you got fans that love that team. And I actually, you know, felt at one point in my life like Texas was like my backup team just because I work in Texas. And, you know, I kind of, you know, rode the bandwagon a little bit about, you know, the Longhorns. Of course, now it changes because you're in the SEC, so I can't pull for you anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of controversy. So we will see what happens with the rankings when they come out. Meanwhile, Georgia will have a bye week in week 4. So we will not play next week. Hopefully we can continue to have a great football weekend and enjoy some other lineups. In week 5, we will be facing Alabama. And we all know what that game means for Georgia. It's been, a really big challenge. Of course, they don't have the coach. The coach is not there anymore. Got a new coach coaching Alabama. And so we will see how we handle that. It reminds me a little bit in the 90s where Spurrier was coaching Florida, and Spurrier left and went over to South Carolina. It's just still that feeling like, are we going to get it done with Florida? And so now we're in this season again with Alabama. Nick Saban's not there. New coaches there. They still have what looks like, I guess, a solid team. Yesterday they played somebody that, who was the team? It's skipping my.
They played Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yeah,
but they hadn't played nobody all season. And if you look, they started out with Western Kentucky. Then they started out with South Florida. Then they played Wisconsin, who's not even ranked. And then the Big Ten. Georgia been tested out the gate. We played Clemson. We did beat Clemson, but Clemson is not the same Clemson.
Right.
And then we had a bye week pretty much with Tennessee Tech. Then we had to play UK. So Georgia been battle tested. Alabama hadn't been battle tested this year. And that's why I think that come next week, all the hoopla and hype around Bama. All right, kudos. You want a hero cookie? Wait till you meet a big dog.
Yeah.
You ain't played nobody.
And our schedule is pretty complex this season too. So we're looking forward to coming to you again after this Alabama game, and maybe sharing our thoughts about how that game goes. Meanwhile, we're going to enjoy the break and we're going to watch some other lineups, and that makes for a great football Saturday because I don't have to get upset with my team like I did in week 3. But nevertheless, y'all, that's the show for this week. Have a great week, and we'll be coming at you again with another show. Take care.